The world had always been loud for Arin Saul, loud with expectations, loud with disappointments, loud with the kind of noise that crawls into your chest and convinces you that you are not enough. He woke every morning to the same ordinary sunrise, but this morning felt different, almost prophetic, as if the sun rose reluctantly, dragging its tired light across the rooftops of the city. Arin walked through the crowded streets, but the noise no longer felt like chaos. Today it felt like a countdown. His dreams had been cracked for years, pieces scattered by failures, by the people who said he couldn't, and by the voice in his own head whispering the same. Yet something stirred inside him now, a rebellion, a flicker of defiance that refused to stay small. He entered the old abandoned station where he often sat to think, peeling paint, iron beams like forgotten bones, echoes of trains long gone. As he sat, a strange silence washed over the world. Cars froze mid-street, birds paused in flight, the wind itself seemed to hold its breath. Time did not stop, but everything in it bowed its head. And then Arin heard it, a whisper in the silence, not from around him but from within. You were never meant to break. You were meant to awaken. The voice wasn't magic, it wasn't divine, it was the part of him he had buried under fear and excuses. Memories flooded him, every insult that scarred him, every moment he quit too early, every time he convinced himself others were chosen and he was not. But with the memories came something else, a warmth, a rising, the feeling of standing at the beginning of a path that terrified and excited him at the same time. Arin stood, the silence lifted, cars moved, birds flew, the wind exhaled. But Arin was different now. He didn't know why this moment happened, or what force cracked open the shell he had been trapped inside, but he knew this, he could no longer walk through life half awake. He stepped out of the station with a new fire in his chest. Whatever was coming, challenges, failures, heartbreak, he would face it with a will that no one, not even his own doubts, could extinguish. And as he walked, he felt something powerful. For the first time in years, he believed in the possibility of being more. If you're feeling this shift too, if you want more stories that awaken something inside you, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment like this. Arin's transformation did not arrive as a sudden explosion of glory but as a slow burning storm that rewrote him from the inside out, reshaping every insecurity, every scar, every ruined dream into fuel for something larger than anything he once believed possible. Each morning he woke with a sense of battle humming beneath his ribs, a conviction that the world was no longer something happening to him but something he was shaping stroke by stroke with the force of his choices. He began studying tirelessly, books stacked like monuments to his rebirth, notebooks filled with ideas, failures, and the raw truths of someone determined to outrun the version of himself who once surrendered too easily. He failed constantly, and painfully, but this time he did not run. He stood in the ashes of each failure and learned to build again. His peers whispered that he was wasting his time, that dreams were fantasies meant for the lucky few, but Arin had learned to tune out the voices that never built anything themselves. Instead, he listened to the trembling courage in his own heartbeat, a rhythm urging him forward even on the days his hands shook from exhaustion. He spent nights creating, writing speeches, stories, messages, anything that could become a bridge for someone else lost in the darkness he once drowned in. And slowly, without fanfare or applause, something remarkable happened. People noticed. A stranger sent him a message saying his words helped them through a sleepless night. A young person told him they finally believed they could become something more. And as Arin read those messages, he realized something life-changing. The purpose he found in the abandoned station was not meant to stay inside him, it was meant to ignite others. His journey was no longer just his own, it was a fire spreading, a chain reaction of awakenings. But with impact came pressure. Doubt returned sometimes, heavier than before, whispering that he was a fraud, that he didn't deserve to guide anyone, that he was still the same broken boy pretending to be whole. Yet every time doubt tried to drag him back, he remembered the silence, the moment the world paused not to intimidate him, but to reveal him. He remembered the whisper, "You're becoming." And he clung to it with the desperation of someone who had finally tasted purpose and refused to let it slip again. One night, overwhelmed by the weight of growth, Arin walked to the highest hill overlooking the glowing city. The wind tore at his clothes, the night sky stretched endlessly above him, and he felt both impossibly small and unimaginably powerful, as if the universe itself had placed him in the center of its vastness to remind him that insignificance is an illusion. He closed his eyes and allowed the night to speak, not with words, but with truth, the truth that becoming the person you were meant to be is not a straight path, but a war, fought in silence, where the enemy wears your own face. And in that silent war, Arin made a vow: he would not quit, not again, not even when failures stacked like cliffs before him. He would climb, bleed, fall, rise, whatever it took. He would become the voice he once needed, the strength he once lacked, the light he once searched for. Because the world didn't need another perfectly polished hero, it needed someone broken who dared to rebuild. The weeks turned into months, and Arin's presence grew louder. People shared his messages, repeated his words, carried his lessons into their own lives. He wasn't famous, he was necessary. And necessity is more powerful than fame. His story reached the kind of people who didn't need entertainment, they needed hope. They needed proof that ordinary souls could rise from extraordinary pain. And Arin, without ever meaning to, had become that proof. But even then, he knew his journey was only beginning. There were deeper battles ahead, higher mountains, harsher storms, but for the first time, he welcomed them. Because he understood a truth most people spend their lives running from: the storm is not your enemy, it is your training. And as he stood before the horizon of his new life, aching, scared, determined, he whispered into the wind, "If one person finds strength because I didn't give up, then none of this was in vain." And if you are hearing these words right now, if you feel even a flicker of resilience stirring in your chest, know this: your story is waiting. Your silence-breaking moment is coming. And if you want stories that awaken, transform, and push you toward the version of yourself you haven't met yet, subscribe to this channel, because your rise starts here, and I am not letting go of your hand.